Moments of Truth, the webcast with and for customer success professionals. I'm Andrew Marks, co-founder of Success Hacker, and today I'm joined by David Ellin, Managing Director and Chief Customer Officer at Centric Leadership Services, an advisory management consulting firm focused on helping companies optimize the customer relationships to drive revenue growth, retention, and customer satisfaction. David has more than 20 years of experience in customer-facing roles with e-commerce, healthcare, and omni-channel enterprise commerce, including roles at Radial, eBay, Adaptive, and InnoTrack Corporation. David, welcome to the program, and thanks for making some time for me today.
Andrew, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
During our prep call, we started talking about customer advisory boards, their importance, and in particular, the value that a CAB brings to the product organization. So I thought we'd start there. Why are customer advisory boards so valuable to product and product roadmaps?
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. Number one, in customer success, a lot of people spend time communicating with power users, communicating with maybe administrators, system administrators, and general users, but often do you not spend time with the decision makers that are setting strategy for a company to understand the value that the software can bring to the company and the strategy that the company is taking and the direction they're going in, and then being able to understand that strategy and bring it back to your product development team, right, to foster enhancements or modifications to software, maybe even customizations or personalizations as well. And there's a lot of value there. The other value to that is just building deeper, stronger relationships with your customers. You know, if I'm a customer of a company, I'd much rather know that you're asking for my opinion and you value my opinion than you don't, and all you're doing is feeding me the functionality that you think I want.
Yeah, you know, and I like that. In customer success, we do spend a lot of time with the folks that are actually using the products on a day-to-day basis. And while some of their objectives may be a component of the overall objectives of the company, we really need to get to that executive level to really understand what is the overarching objective so that we can provide the best functionality and the best direction for them with our products.
Exactly. It makes a difference. And you know, sometimes it's the information you get or the insights you get, and sometimes it's just the value of the customer knowing that you asked and that you care.
Yeah, the building deeper and stronger relationships with customers is really important. The asking, you know, I want to listen to you, I want to hear what you have to say is really important. But how does that, I mean, specifically now, I think I get that aspect of it, but how does that play a role in your product roadmap?
So I'll give you an example of something that we did at our customer advisory board. Our customer advisory boards pre-COVID were typically a day and a half. And what we would do is we'd bring people into a very special location in the country. We'd get them out of their office, get them away from the telephones and email. We really wanted to have their undivided attention to focus on things that were important to them and things that were important to us. So we would take this day and a half session and we would break it into 3 or 4 different 2-hour to 4-hour sessions. And in a customer advisory board session that we did a 4-hour product roadmap session. And we did it in a most unique way, something that we had never done before. What we did was we told our customers that we wanted to gain insights from them on their perspective on our roadmap. And we said we really wanted to look at things from a 0 to 6 month roadmap, 7 to 12 months, 12 to 24 months, and 24 months and beyond. And we had about 25 roadmap items that we were looking at. And so we built a matrix, and we took this matrix, we put it on a big poster, and we put it on the wall in our meeting room. And then we had all the customers sitting around the table, and we spent about 30 minutes reading them a brief description on every roadmap item so that they can get a sense of what we were thinking about, where the idea came from it, the value that it would deliver to our customers, and just get them to start thinking about it. And then what we did was we took these little sticky dots, and we had green sticky dots, yellow sticky dots, and red ones. And we gave each customer 3 green, 3 yellow, and 3 red. And we said, what we want you to do is we want you to go up to this matrix that's on this wall, and we want you to place your green sticky dots on the 3 roadmap items. Forget about where they are, whether they're in the 6-month category or 24-month category, but we want you to put the green ones on products you don't think, features you don't think you could live without. What's going to bring the most value to your business? Forget about the time frame, but I got to have it. It's a must have. It's going to bring me value as soon as I have it. And then we said, take the yellow ones and put them on the roadmap items that are nice to have. You know what? We're not going out and we're not syncing this. We think it would be good. We think it would bring us value. We're very, very interested in it. We'd love to talk about it more. Maybe in the future, maybe not now. And then the red dots, we wanted them to put on roadmap items that we said, don't want it, never considered it, won't bring us value, don't talk to us about it again. And we just sat back. All of our executives that were in the room went to the back of the room. We gave them the sticky dots. We said, you've got an hour and a half, go. And we just sat back and watched what happened. And we were amazed at what happened.
What happened?
All of the customers stood up. They started walking around the room. And before any of them approached the matrix that was on the wall, they all started collaborating with each other, right? One customer would go up to another customer and say, you know, that one roadmap item really intrigues me. I'm not really sure how it would fit into my business. How would it fit into your business, right? Do you think that that's something that would bring value to you? And so now we had our customers collaborating with each other about our roadmap items, which was great. Now, we originally thought they'd walk up to the wall, they'd put their sticky dots down, they would sit down. And what we found is in that 1.5 hours that we gave them, they spent a good 45 minutes talking before the first dot actually hit the board. And we were waiting to see how people would influence each other. And what we found was, even though they were collaborating, they were gaining ideas from each other and insights, but they weren't really twisting each other's arms. They weren't saying, you know, we didn't get 5 customers cluster together and say, hey, if we want this, we all need to put our dot on that. That's not what it was all about. And so all of a sudden, one-on-one, they started going up and placing their dots all over the place. And it was very interesting to see. And then after all the dots were on the board, they sat down, and then we took the time to, as a group, look at the board, see where all the dots fell out, and then start a conversation with customers about why they put the dots where they put them, and what their reasoning was about the value they thought they would get out of some of the roadmap items, or value they didn't think they would get out of some of the roadmap items. And it was really a fascinating conversation. We had never done it that way. I had never seen road mapping done that way in the past.
And what was that value realization that they were? So that was, you know, that value realization was basically informed by what their peers were saying, and how they perceived and approached their problems in their own companies, and how they wanted to use your platform to address it.
And we could see some customers struggling with understanding how their company was using our products and services versus how other companies that were in the room were using our products and services in some different ways that they never thought about. So they started getting more value out of our products by understanding how other customers were utilizing the features that we were giving them.
Yeah, those customer advisory boards are and user user conferences and things like that are great for that sort of thing.
It was tremendously eye-opening, and probably the most fascinating thing that we saw is that of the so we had 12 customers in the room, and out of the 36 green dots that were placed, about 60% of them were placed on roadmap items that were out in the far distance, 24 months plus, that we were thinking it's going to take the market a long time to warm up to these items. We were innovating way ahead of the market, and the customers came back to us and said, boy, those items would bring value right now. They need to be moved up in the roadmap. You need to find resources and get those things done. We will pay for them tomorrow.
So you had this cohort of customers that had a significant influence on your prioritization of your roadmap.
Yeah, to some degree, I was very happy that we didn't have product development, product management folks in the room.
So you had nobody from product in the room?
We had nobody from product in the room. It was executives from the customers and executives from our company.
So they couldn't influence anything. They couldn't poo-poo.
Exactly.
They couldn't shrug their shoulders and have all the nonverbal communications to try and influence.
And it was completely intentional that we did it that way. We didn't want any selling going on. We didn't want any lobbying for one roadmap item over another roadmap item. We didn't want somebody speaking up and being defensive about a roadmap item that would happen to be theirs, right? That they invented it and said, this is why we think we need it.
Right.
We just wanted the customers to tell us what they thought was important and what they thought wasn't important.
And what did that tell you about your internal decision making prior to meeting with the customers?
Yeah, that's a great question, Andrew. So number one, it told us that we don't always know what our customers want. It also tells us that we can't think internally, we have to think externally, right? We have to think as if we were the customer, and which makes it even more important for our customer success teams to know about our customers' businesses, right? So that they can talk to the customers and say, where are you going? What direction are you going in? What obstacles are you having in achieving your goals? And then bring that information back to the product management team and say, hey, 40% of our customers tell us they have this obstacle in completing their goal. What can we develop to help them overcome that obstacle?
Right, or maybe we need to prioritize this feature because and it is an incredibly important aspect of customer success, is that outside-in thinking, is employing that empathy as a customer success manager.
Yes.
So that you are trying to understand and take the customer's perspective.
Yeah, it was fascinating. So the insights for us were multifold in that. Not only did we have that one that had all the green dots, but we had an item that was literally in development and it was 4 months away from being released. And it had, of the 36 red dots, it had 11 red dots on it.
Wow.
And we had customers just say, you can develop it, but don't call on us to buy it. And we literally, after that meeting, went back to the product development team and pulled the resources from developing that item right then and there on the spot.
So what did this eye-opening experience have, besides the immediate kind of tactical impact of adjusting some priorities on that particular snapshot of your product roadmap? Did it cause you to initiate any change in the way in which the product team went ahead and prioritized the roadmap, or even figured out what features were important from then on, moving forward.
Yes, and one of the things that really helped us in that process is we videotaped the entire session. Our customers knew we were videotaping it. We had cameras in the far back corner of the room. They couldn't see the cameras, so they weren't really concerned about having it captured visually, and they weren't worrying about the things they were saying. But we played the entire video back for our roadmap team and for our product development team, because we wanted them to see how customers thought about the roadmap. And the big takeaway for the product development team was they had to change their way of thinking completely, again, from that inside out to that outside in. But I think for me, the biggest takeaway in collaborating with the customer, with between the customer success organization and the product development organization, is the product development organization always took a very firm stance with customer success, saying, we know better, we know what the market wants. And after seeing that video, they looked at each other and they found a new love for customer success. And they learned that collaboration is in their best interest.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of being the enemy, we now became their favorite brother or favorite sister. It was really interesting.
You know, what's funny is in one of our courses we talk about the Henry Ford analogy, where he seemed to know better than his customers, and at first he did, but he because he refused to listen to what customers wanted, he lost a huge monopoly essentially on automobiles in less than a decade, because he failed to listen. So I mean, you have these examples throughout history of businesses not listening to customers, and yet you constantly see it happen over and over again.
And what's interesting is the roadmap process informed our executive sponsor program. So I had also created an executive sponsor program at eBay, and one of the things that we did is, instead of the customer advisory board where it was many to many interaction, the executive sponsor program was a one-to-one interaction. And what our executives took away from that session was the value of asking more probing questions to our customers during their executive one-on-ones, to understand that customer perspective and then bring it back into the C-suite, which then influenced every other decision we were making.
That's great. Well, and regardless of what you know or what discipline you come from, or if you have subject matter expertise as you're designing and building a product, your customers probably know a lot more about their business than you do, right?
Yeah. And it never hurts to ask. We should never assume we know better. And the fact that you don't ask, it impacts your relationship, right? So when you do ask, your customers think about you differently, because they start thinking about you as a partner instead of a vendor, and that changes the whole relationship.
Well, we talk about the ABCs. Not the ABCs from Glengarry, Glen Ross, always be closing, but the ABCs, always be curious, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if you know the answer, you ask, right? Even if you know what they're trying to accomplish, you keep asking and make sure you're still you're still going in the right direction. Even if you understand their business, you ask about their business.
Yeah. My acronym for ASK is ASK, ask and seek knowledge.
I love that. Ask and seek knowledge.
Yeah.
And the people who are going to be listening and watching this are doing it because they want to seek knowledge. So
perfect.
Once again, David, thank you so much for joining me today. I loved it. I love this topic. The whole concept of outside in thinking is so important in what we do, and it not just informs the direction that our product roadmap should take. It should be one of the most important aspects of what we do with our customers, so we can better serve them.
Andrew, great conversation, great topic. Thank you very much for having me on the program. I appreciate it.